Welcome back to the Stars Realty Podcast. My name is Stephanie, and today we have a very special guest. Someone who blends real estate, lending, investing, and mindset into one powerful mission. Luis Omar Figueroa is a top mortgage lending expert, real estate profession, and the author of The H, Hard Money, How to Use Short-Term Learning to Build Real Estate Wealth. Originally from Cataño, Puerto Rico,
yes,
I have the pleasure of having him here today. Thank you.
Well, Stephanie, thank you for the intro. I appreciate it.
You see that?
Yeah,
I
it was
made
great.
that
It was great.
sound?
This is like our third podcast right now, guys. So just FYI, we're kind of like loose already. We're ready to go.
So I'm really glad you made the drive. You came here.
No, first of all, thank you
meeting
for
guys.
allowing me to be on your platform because as we spoke before, I know it takes effort, takes time, it takes commitment, and I appreciate that. As a craftsman, as somebody who practices it, I know how much it takes behind the scenes. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So for our viewers out there, I know I said a little bio of yours.
Yes.
But please let them know who you are,
Okay.
where you come from.
Okay, Luis Omar Figueroa, originally from Cataño, Puerto Rico. I'm American, but have a very immigrant story. My mother brought me over in the late 70s to the Bronx. And from there, I was a public school person until I went to college at NYU. And at NYU is when I kind of understood that there was a much bigger world than the block, right? The block being, if you're from any city, you used to hang out on your block, right? So the world is much bigger than the block. So going to NYU, besides an education of just history, literacy, English, math, it was an education in the world. And the education in the world was that, you know, there was so much bigger machinations and levers in life that I had no idea about. And I wasn't intimidated. Rather, I was incredibly curious about it. And so going to school there and then getting a job as a doorman on Broadway, where I met a lot of celebrities. And during that time, just meeting different people, you start having a really big understanding of the commonality we all have, first of all, and the struggles. No matter how many zeros you have in your bank account, you have struggles. You have children. You have marriage, you have so many different things that I can keep running off on. And so again, going off the block and living with a single mother, she was married multiple times, and being the man of the house to then going to New York City and then and interfacing and rather competing with people that are, I want to say they were much more prepared than I was to go into that type of academia and stuff like that. But I made it, I graduated. And then I opened up a liquor store in the Bronx, and then a nightclub, of course, because that's the dream, right? During that time, I was approached by an owner of a bank, and we spoke about this a little bit. And he wanted to speculate in the Bronx. He wanted to buy in the Bronx, and this is the Bronx in the early 2000s, where there was rubble and abandoned buildings everywhere. And he was Jewish, and he was, being honest, he was afraid to come into the neighborhood. I was so well connected in the community because I had the liquor store. I was more than willing to try it. Knew nothing about finances. When I say finance, that'd be mortgages, or how real estate worked. At that point in my life, I didn't know a homeowner. To put that into context, right? Like I didn't know one person owned a house, so I had no idea how it worked. And he explained to me, listen, I find a property, or you find me a property, it's a price I want to pay. I will pay you 6% of that price. I'm doing the math. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, right? So we did one deal, we did two deals, we did three deals. And the numbers started adding up. And then one day I go to pick up my check at his bank. And, he was like, yo, why don't you become a loan officer? And I've skipped some parts of the story, but loan officers in the early 2000s make a lot of fucking money. Let me just be very clear, guys. When I say a lot of money, I mean $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month, just point blank. Of course, this led to meltdown, but I wanted to look at the camera when I said that. But again, I had never met anybody making that type of money. Aside from when I was a doorman, I met the chairman of American Express. But it's a different type of money, and these are people that are just salesmen making money out of nothing. And so I took him up on his offer. I started in September of that year. I don't remember the year. I think it was 2006. I'm not sure. And from September, October, November, December, I made $108,000 in commissions, right? So So the part I skipped, he had asked me what I made at the store. And I made about $120,000 at the store after everything for the year. So here in 3 months, I made the same money.
The same amount.
So that was it. I was out. I retired out of the liquor business. I just sold everything in the store. I closed it, and I went full on into real estate. I went into real estate during the crash of '08, which for many of you know that this is when the foreclosure was happening.
Correct.
Right. The Big Short, that's a great movie. You should check it out. That's really what happened. And I was still in it during that time, and I was learning. And because I wasn't in it at the easiest time, I wasn't jaded, right? So I just thought this was like business as usual. So I'm learning. And, you buy your first house, then, the one thing I can always say is that I'm never afraid to learn. If you're smarter than me, I don't get intimidated. I get fascinated. I'm like, hey, how'd you do that? And it's never like, the scarcity mindset where I'm like, oh, only he can do it. I'm like, yo, I can take some gems here and implement them into my life. And so that's how I've always done things. Eventually in 2012, I opened up my own bank, my mortgage bank, Hern Capital, and the real estate company, Hudson Group Realty Network. And I put the flagship in the Bronx because that's where I'm from. Just P.S. Everything in 2004, 5, and 6 was in Long Island. I used to drive 50 miles each way every day.
Okay.
Because the most amount of mortgage banks in America were in Long Island at that time for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a proliferation of the guys from Wall Street that went over there and non-regulation, stuff like that. And so that's kind of how I got into it. And then I got good at it, right? I just started learning more and more and more. I mean, to this point, to my point right now, I'm still learning, right? There's always something to learn. During COVID, we all learned, right? We all learned how to to me, this was like, oh shit, it's 08 again. What we doing? Like, how we figuring this out? So I never panicked. A lot of people panicking. So I just knew that, it's going to correct itself. I know the country needs money. People need leverage, and it's part of America. So I knew that we were never going to go out of business. It just became the mindset and your belief system as you view things, what becomes your reality. You're like, hey, all right, so the government's going to figure some shit out because they're not going to leave us.
Always.
Because they got to live too.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had that faithful with your mindset, and that's how I keep going. That's how I do what I do.
So talking about mindset.
Yes.
Then tell us a little bit about hard money.
Oh, so the Asian hard money, I wrote during 2023 when I had double hip replacement surgery.
Okay.
Yeah. I had osteoarthritis in my hips. I had them for like 10 years. And it got to a point that I was, I'm from the generation where like, yo, man, whatever.
You push on.
Yeah, you're getting
Continue.
old, whatever. But there was a point I was like, yo, something's up. So I went to see a doctor. I did the whole thing. I went to see a general. Told her it's hurting. She gives you a referral. I'm saying this because I learned how to do this way. I didn't know anybody who did this. So then I went to go see a orthopedic specialist who did like a couple of twists, and she goes, "Yeah, you need surgery, or I can give you a shot, a cortisone shot." Yeah. Right? And I never had taken anything for my pain, so I'm like, I don't need that. There's a funny story to that. But anyway, all right. So then I go see a surgeon, and he's looking at me, and he's like, "How you walking?" And I was like, I was limping. I was like, I'm just walking, bro. I gotta walk.
Can I say
Sure.
I completely understand your pain.
Did you have hip surgery?
Do not have hip surgery. So I have my L5 is like out, right? Herniated.
Okay.
And it's against the nerve.
Oof.
So JNC knows last month I was barely walking.
It's like sciatica?
So I could not walk. So it's against the nerve. So I go to chiropractors. I go to my doctors. My hips are misaligned.
Okay.
Like one is looking, I don't even know how they look, but one is looking forward and the other one's like back.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, you need surgery.
Wow.
And I was like, no, I just need you to crack me up.
Fix me. Yeah.
Yes. So coming from that side of like just work and be out there and keep moving, I am still going to my therapist and I do work out and everything.
Right.
Not in surgery yet, but the pain is excruciating.
I knew so I went to Massachusetts to go see one of our buildings, right? We have a 21 unit, me and some partners. And, with the watches, they count your steps. When I was doing anything above 5,000 steps, I was limping. I had to walk up 5 flights. I was like, oh, shit. So I had to hold my breath. So I knew something was up. So anyway, I had the surgery. Now I'm like, I'm working, but not really because, like, you're kind of wonky. You're supposed to walk, and it just you're not who you are. Like, look, I consider myself an athlete. I play basketball and stuff like, so I'm definitely not who I am. So during that time, I figured I could write a book because there's so much bad information out there. So instead of being those people that say, "Oh, it's so fake," I'm like, let me write something, that based on shit that I've done, so that people can read it. And it's not a hard read; it's like 100 pages. So they got a bit of like a preface to what hard money really is, because everybody thinks they know until they call and they're like, "Oh, I thought you could do this, and I thought you could do that," and I'm like, "No, who told you we could do that?" And I have to reprogram people. So that was my like 2 cents of helping.
So for the viewers out there, what's scary, or what do people think about hard money?
It's not even what's scary. It's what happens is a miseducation. So hard money is a short-term finance. It's like bridge money. You should be in and out of it 12 months. Why? It's high interest rate, but there's really less paperwork. So you can buy a property. I can close a deal in 5 days, right? If there's equity and things line up, so you can position a property from foreclosure. You could buy a property out of an estate. You could do so many things that conventional financing can't do. So what you do is you buy it, you stabilize it. What that means is basically you correct the things that need correcting for conventional financing, and then you exit. Then you get into a conventional loan, a long-term loan, 30 years, and pay off the hard money. So that's how hard money should be used. Fix and flippers use it that way. Asset, like when you have people that this is a story I hear all the time, right? They'll come and there's a house in Brooklyn that 5 people own because their mom passed, but nobody wants to pay the mortgage. Nobody wants to pay the water bill. So they're about to lose it. So I'm like, all right, look, we have to put in an LLC if we have an heir, and we're going to refinance it. We're going to pay everything off, and then you can have 12 months. So you can take the money out. Like, because I wear 2 hats, I wear lending and real estate. This is a deal I've done where I'm like, all right, it's worth $2 million. You only owe $300. Take $657. We're going to rehab it. We're going to put it on the market. You're going to get now, whatever, $2.5, $3 million, and then you have something to talk about. Right now, you have nothing to talk about because you can't even sell this thing, right? Because nobody can come in with regular financing. So those are the ways that I use it to creatively help people.
So we do a lot of hard money here.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm here then.
Yes.
Okay.
So I completely understand where you're going with it.
Yeah.
Brokers very well known with hard money, and we have to lend and everything. So a lot of people are scared of that 12 months or that time, that short of a time. Right. Some people, a lot of the people don't understand the interest payments or what you're doing. So it is. So how do you kind of like teach your clients?
Well, it all starts with the conversations, right? And one of the big conversations I was speaking at a NARP event, where it's like, don't hide. If shit's going wrong, call your lender. Yo, this is where we at.
Oh, yes.
I'm behind. All right, we'll get you an extension. There's things you can do. But if you don't call, or you try not to pick up the phone calls when you're not making payments, that's the worst thing you can do. Because now I feel like you're not going to pay, so now we have to foreclose. And nobody wins in foreclosure, right? Like, because we're paying lawyers, we're paying this, we're paying that, and all we want to do is get our money back. That's it. Nobody wants to own your property. Like, I know people, hard money lenders, they want to own my shit. No, we want to get paid our money, and do your thing, man. Like, do your thing. It's like, I don't know if you've seen that skit on Instagram where like you're the builder and you made like $1 million, and I'm the broker. I only made 30,000.
I think,
and I'm the appraiser. I ain't make shit, right? So kind of like that.
And then, the TC says at the end, "Wait, you guys are making money."
You know the skit. So I'm like, yeah, that makes me laugh because I'm like, yo, it's exactly it. When you're the owner, you make most of the money, and that's okay, bro. But stop like hiding your pocket. Nobody cares, man. Good for you. You exposed yourself to all the liability. You should get paid the most money. But I think sometimes, and real estate brokers sometimes, and even loan officers, they're like, yo, he's making, but yo, that's his money. Good for him. I guess that changed, my attitude changed once I started doing my own deals. Because I understood it, because yo, I had a property we're gonna sell. It was me and a partner. I'm reframing the conversation so that I don't get sued.
It's fine.
Right? So
no suing here.
So the property is worth whatever. I'm just gonna $650. Yeah. We owed like $180 on it. They were like, hey, Omar, I'm gonna sell it for $350. I'm like, what? I was like, it needed work. I was like, why? Well, I don't have the money to fix it. I was like, all right, man. So look, let me give you some money to hold you down. Let me fix it. Then we're gonna list it for this number. I'm gonna take back everything I invested, and I'll split the difference. I'll split whatever I net from it. Yo, it's dope. But had I not done that, at least I had that conversation. Why do you need the money so bad? Because you're not making no money. because he was jammed up. He had a problem with an ex-wife. So whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I don't want to go too deep into the story, but at least we had that conversation, and now like I was able to position it where we made more money in the land. He had to wait a little more, but he made a lot more money.
It happens. I've had some stories like that.
It happens. Yeah, it happens.
When should somebody not use hard money?
When they really know they're not going to pay anybody back, and I don't know if anybody does that knowingly. I had a conversation with a client recently. He's like, "Oh, I'm in the same position." I was like, "No, hold on. We gave you $500,000. You owed $60,000 in water. You owe $200,000 in taxes. How are you in the same position? You're about to get your property taken away from you."
I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, because I had somebody tell me, I think it was this past month, he owns $60,000 in water, and I was like,
I said, "You got a car wash?" Yeah.
I was like, how do you owe $60,000 in water for your residential property?
Yes.
So you just opened it up and let it go
Yeah,
for a
everybody's
whole
taking
year?
baths, man. He had a 4-unit, so I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I just, I've been paying it." I'm like, "Obviously, but why?" He's like, "I don't know. I don't know why. I can't tell you the why, but we got him out of that situation." And if you're not a good payer, like going back to the other property in Brooklyn, I'm like, "Yo, man, get it ready to sell," because there's all 4 of you guys, and nobody. And I don't say this with judgment. I say this honestly with financial literacy. None of you have a job that can support or pay the other heirs out. So you can't talk about it. Like that's not even like, "Oh, I want to keep it." All right, do you have the income? No. Let's not talk about it. I understand what you want, but let's talk with reality. It's real estate, not fake estate. So let's be real. They're expecting their money. Can you pay them the money? No. So we have to figure out how to get them their money. If not, you just end up losing the property. There's another deal we had. We closed in January, 2 days before the auction on the courthouse. I didn't want to sell. She's getting more money than me. I said, "Hey guys," this was me on a conference call. So in 2 days, there will be no money. So either you take some money or no money.
Everybody understands.
They're like,
say
"What do you mean no money?" I
money?
was like, "No, because nobody's gonna own shit." So
Correct.
they were like, "Okay, fine, we sign." And sometimes you have to have that tough conversation. Yeah.
So if somebody wants to build wealth, right, and we already talked about hard money, what's the step one
In real estate,
in real estate?
I think everybody starts with cash flowing properties, right? Smaller projects. I have a group of individuals that have purchased about 80 houses in certain areas of Pennsylvania. Properties for like 100,000, 130. Rents are like $2,500, $3,000 a unit, which is crazy. They're cash flowing $3,000 a month. The property's now worth $250. So they have,
Some equity.
so that's how you start.
Mhm.
And then those guys usually cash in and they'll buy something bigger. Because in the beginning, I believe, and if anybody thinks I'm wrong, please hit me up. Cash flow is the starter. Then once you start making certain numbers on paper, you need tax shelter. You need depreciation. You need certain things to kind of max you out. And if you're not understanding it, then you're not there yet. And it's not, I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm just it's steps to it.
It's fine.
It's steps to
You're
it.
learning.
Yeah,
You're
it's
learning.
steps to it. So cash flow is the beginning. Start small, start in a project where you can afford to carry it if you have to. I had a friend of mine who was looking in Miami. He was getting outbid on everything. I'm like, "Bro, everything's $1 million out here, bro.
More.
Buy 3 Pennsylvania houses." He did. He fixed them. He flipped them. He made some money, and now he's buying something in Connecticut, which is another market. There's certain pockets of Connecticut. I just closed 2 deals in Connecticut. 2 families that could be 3 families, and they're cash flowing heavy. And those are $300,000 to $400,000 purchases.
You find those little like gold mines here and there.
Yes.
Connecticut is a little bit expensive though, if you want to go certain parts.
After COVID.
Right, after COVID. Same as Massachusetts.
Is it?
I think we have 2 family for 1.2.
What part of Massachusetts?
Worcester.
Okay.
So that goes into a little bit more. So I think it all depends where you're looking for those.
Okay.
But again, when I ran some numbers, the rentals there and everybody is going over $3,500 a month.
Wow.
In the rent, which is crazy.
Yes.
Just crazy. But again, it all is where you're thinking of doing the numbers.
Right.
Numbers.
Well, look at your pocket and be like, "Yo, what can I play and I can be like effective?" You don't have to be the biggest guy, or girl. You got to be like a player. That guy who's looking in Miami, that's not. I said, "You're not ready for that, Papa. Let's go over here." He was like, "Oh, I could buy so much more here." I'm like, "Yeah. Buy 3 over there."
Same money.
Yeah.
But
Same money, 3
state,
different projects. Right. So,
state.
exactly.
So you're involved in Hudson Group, as you said.
Yes.
Right? HERN, right? Capital. What are you building?
I don't know. I think I'm building. I've become a place, and we had a little bit of a conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say my wife says she's the realtor with empathy, right? Because she's just not sales driven, which is fine. I want to say that I like to deal with clients that see the value. I'm not a salesman because if I was just, I think we talked about this earlier. If I was just a salesman, I would say whatever
Yes.
to get it there, and then you'll make money, but eventually that burns out, or you have to keep looking for new clientele. So I'm building a brand where people can come, and as I grow, I really give my advice for free, meaning, hey, I did this, maybe it'll work for you. I have other clients that are way above me in terms of financial means, but they look at me as almost like a coach, and I'm like, yo, bro, what is this? He's like, oh, I co-signed for my girl. I was like, she's not your girl anymore. You got to pay the bill. I was like, why is you crying? I said, this is a real conversation. You're a multimillionaire. Why do you have this FICO score? He's like, I'm not paying that. I was like, it's $2,000. He's like, está bien, lo pago. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, come on. They have to have that brother conversation.
I had a conversation just like that. And I was like, it's $600.
What are we talking about? Right? It's affecting your FICO score.
Yeah. Like $600.
Yeah.
It's $600.
Yeah.
You're putting $500,000 down. Like, what are we talking about?
You know people like that too.
Yes.
But they hear it from certain people. I have certain clients that so the higher net worth my client, the less time they have. So I'll always get the rando.
Yes.
Yeah, I get the rando text. Yo, I have to talk to you. So I'm like, what's up? And then they'll send me like some paperwork I hate that shit. By text. I'm like trying to open it up on my phone, and they're like, can you go over this with me? And I'm like, okay. So I was like, can you email it to me? And then it becomes that conversation. But I guess that's a good place. So I'm a resource for our people where they don't have to feel committed to closing with me. Usually they want to, but going back to my strategy on social media, if we're going to tie it all in, my strategy in social media has always been brand awareness. It has never been just sale. It's always been brand. For 7 years, I've been building brand awareness. I do some ads that call to actions. I use the word call to action, but that's very specific. But that's not all the time. My business is built on brand awareness. I get invited to certain things because people just know who I am, right? And I get invited to participate in certain things just because they think they know me, or they may have met me, or ancillarily they may have met me.
So I do, and I think I said this too. I do know that you're very kind of like the brand and very knowledgeable, and you're always putting things, especially on Instagram, that are quotes, right? So you wrote, taking action is key. Don't just wish for change. Be aggressive about your goals, but patient with the results.
Aggressive patience. Yeah, so aggressive patience is something, I don't know if you saw that clip. I was talking on another podcast about it. It's I don't know. It's a belief system that I've created. And I was talking to my son, my 21-year-old, about. He was laughing when he saw it on my screensaver, and he's like, "Oh, that's like." I forgot what he said, some stupid shit. So I'm like
the 20-something.
Yeah, I'm like, no, bro, no, that's not what it means. I was like, you got to take action towards what you want, but you got to also be humble to understand that it takes time. It takes time, and the bigger your thing, the more time it's gonna take, right? And that's the part where we kind of get it mixed up. Where in real estate, especially, emotions get high. People are like, you're not seeing their best versions. So you can try to keep it, and there's so many different. You have buy, sell, right? So you have opposing interests, and you got to kind of navigate that. And sometimes it's easy, and sometimes you get somebody who's like kind of a stooge, and they're like, oh, what the? And you're like.
But you don't even know, because you might feel like they're a stooge, but you don't know the client they're representing. That client can be double as hard.
Yeah.
So they have to push back as well.
Right.
So you never know. I think it's like that. You make a 5-year goal. Mm-hmm. And a 10-year, because nowadays, society or the generation, I don't know which one, if you want to think, if they want it now. Mm-hmm. If like they want it to be done now. You want your credit score to be changed now. You think you can own a Lamborghini now.
Prime generation. Yeah, Amazon Prime generation.
Yes.
I order it. It's coming. It's coming. It should be outside.
It's the next day delivery.
I want happiness. Where is it? Is it 24 hours? Yeah. Listen. That leads me to another conversation where sometimes what I say might sound contradictory, but if you think about it a little deeper, it's not. Like aggressive patience, like aggressively pursue your goals, but give it the patience, understand the patience it will take to see them unfold, right? Because it's not just you. It's like, I'll use the working out metaphor, right? You can work out every day for 2 weeks, nothing happens. It's 100 days later. It's 100 days of continued action through faith to then see some, and not just the working out, it's the eating, it's the this, it's the sleep, it becomes a thing, it becomes a lifestyle, and you have to commit to the lifestyle and try to have a good relationship with it, because you don't always feel great. Like sometimes, like you train really hard, the next day you feel like you got beat up by somebody in a boxing match, but do what you can and keep moving. I believe that CPI, consistency, proficiency, intensity. It's like an acronym I made up. Consistency beats everything. Like if you do something every day, you have to get better. Now, if you get better, proficiency, it takes you less time to get it done, right? Once you get really good at it and you do it every day, and then you can turn it up, like go a little harder, then you get more done. But it starts with the first one. And that's the first one is like, yo, when the shit ain't working out, when the deal fell apart, when the client told you go fuck yourself. No offense. I'm making this up, but
it's happened.
Yeah, it really happens to everybody. Like, not everybody is gonna go your way. They have their own shit they're dealing with, and you have to have the humility to understand that what I try to do with a client, and this happened not that long ago. The client said some wild shit, so I said to myself, let me bring him to my energy, because I don't want to go to his energy. Like, nobody wins. Nobody wins. So I said, I understand that, and I felt so grown up. I felt like I was a mature man.
This is it.
Yeah,
I
was like, I've evolved because I was a crash out earlier in my career. I was like, wow, who are you talking to? Now I'm like, nah, it doesn't matter, because your mental space is very, very valuable, and who you allow into it is a big thing. So yeah, you gotta ebb and flow. You always give, right? I'm a big believer in giving until you show me I shouldn't, and then that's it. Then I just changed the night, and it's okay. You dictated that, not me, and that's fine.
So we've spoken about kind of like your client, your view. How do you take that as a leader with two companies?
Energy is everything, and you got to remember when people are in the beginning, it's like your first date, right? They're gonna put up the best. So you got to kind of give it a little bit of time. I think one of the things that I work on, I'm still working on, is how to like convey a message when it might not be the best message. And what I mean by that is that if it might sound as constructive criticism, I try not to like make people feel like they're being criticized, because I'm really not. I really want you to become a better person, but I can't want you to become a better person. You understand? Like I can tell you, hey, I think you should work on this. And I gotta go back to patience. I just sit there and just watch. And then if you don't, then I gotta make a decision, because one bad apple ruins the bunch.
Oh, my mom used to tell me that all the time.
Now do you understand?
She's like, Stephanie, one rotten potato puertorriqueña, un papa podrida daña todas.
Yes,
She runs everything. And I'm like, okay,
true.
Mommy.
It's true. I mean, and everybody's dealing with their own thing. And as a leader, the one thing I've had to learn is that meet people where they're at. Give them advice. Don't try to dictate. Rather, just try to elaborate. Right? But hey, man, this is what I think you should do. And the hardest part for me is knowing when to cut the relationship, because there's the CEO. You could all be like, oh, it's all business. But at the end, we're human, right? And as a human, you're like, yo, I'm gonna tell this kid he can't work here, and maybe he can't. Like you become that guy. You're like, oh, how is he gonna feed his family? Like like it becomes all that. And I've had other people in my company say, yo, you soft though. I'm like, maybe I don't know if I'm soft. I try to look for the good, but I am working on having you have to give yourself time limits, and it has to be universal. It can't be just for this guy or that girl. Yo, in 90 days, if this doesn't happen, I think we should part ways. And you try to make it sound business, but of course it's your humanity. You're like, damn, I'm basically telling him he doesn't qualify to be here. But I'm not saying he's not a good human. I'm just saying he's not a good sales guy.
I think it happens in all aspects, right? So as somebody in leadership, right, you always kind of like tell everybody the positives and then the good qualities, and then you end up with this is what you need to kind of fix. And in real estate, and I think you're going to agree with me, this circle is so small. You don't want to burn any bridges. And lending is the same thing.
Yeah.
So you don't know where your path is going to lead, that you might have to work with that person in the future.
Yeah.
Because it might have not worked out with you under your team, right? But if they might go somewhere else.
It might work out for them. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, that's the thing. You have to be able to, this is not a good fit. And not be, so it's, the goal is to give your opinion objectively.
Correct.
And don't make it a personal attack.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard because people, they take it personal. And they come at you personally. So sometimes you have to, be the bigger person and be like, okay, I understand, but this is where we're at.
So for people that are out there thinking, I want to be in lending or I want to be in real estate, what would your advice be?
Okay, so for the young people at home, if you're just starting, you should get with a company that you feel has good education. If it's somebody that you feel resonates with you, you see yourself in that person, become like an assistant and be ready to take on any job. And that there's no job too big or too small. And that's what I ran into. I ran into guys that were like, no, that's beneath me. I'm like, bro, you don't do anything. What are you talking about? Like, you ain't closing no deals in 6 months. What are we talking about, right? Like, what's beneath you? You're not making no money is beneath you, bro?
I want a 90-10 split. And you're like...
Yeah. She went to splits. Oh, my God. Yeah. 100% of 0 guy. You know what I'm saying?
Like, okay, yeah, because you're right here producing so much. Closing every day. That came from
she had her own agenda on that one.
Yeah, let me sign it over right now. The 90-10 is gonna happen right now. You know what? Let's end this. So,
there's a lot of drama in this room.
There is. Ooh, yeah, I felt it inside. So I have the last few questions.
Okay.
And these are a little bit more rapid fire.
Okay.
You say failure refines you.
Yes.
Not defines you.
Yes.
What did failure teach you?
Failure teaches me mistakes that I won't repeat. So I just get better. I'll make new mistakes, but I won't make the same ones.
Correct. Yeah. Everybody that trust me.
It's a gem.
Why is taking action more important than having the perfect plan?
Because the plan will never be perfect. Things change. And I don't know if you saw my other quote recently. There's no right or wrong. It's just life.
Yes.
And right or wrong to who? To who? To me? That might not be the same for you or her. It's different. So it has to be to you.
What does being aggressive with goals but patient with results, which we spoke about, look like in real life?
Frustration. Frustration, but you know what? Like, I think about it sometimes when things don't go my way. I'm like, well, this is the life you kind of wanted. Oh, so yeah, that $1 million deal didn't close yesterday, but you're working. I remember when I was trying to close a $100,000 deal. So now I'm like, oh, come on, pick your poison, bro. Like, you're in the mix. It's not dropping the way you want it to drop, but you have the ingredients going. So there's always humility involved because sometimes you get used to being a certain way, and then you're like, yo, this is what I do every day, and then
So that example kind of hits with our transaction coordinator. Okay. When she first started, she didn't like agents. They don't trust very easy. So she might have just seen 1 or 2 deals. Right now, she has 41 deals on her table, right? And she's like, if like it didn't go through, it like at the last minute the appraisal didn't go through, the deal dropped, and I'm like, okay, but you have another 40.
Yeah,
and it's
before you're sitting out waiting for the deals.
Yes.
What are we doing?
Last year she was just having one, and she's like, I don't think this is it. The deals aren't really coming in. The agents aren't using me, and now she's having to actually tell agents, we need somebody else because it's too many transactions.
That's what growth looks like.
Yes,
that's great.
Which I love.
That's great.
But I want to thank you for being here.
Of course.
And lastly, before we leave, I want you to look at the camera, please, and let your viewers know where they can find you.
Ask Louis Omar on all platforms. I made it very easy to find me.
That's true.
That's it. No extra handles. Ask Louis Omar. Just Google it. It's everywhere.
It really
on
is.
purpose.
It really is. But thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking your time. Everybody, the book is out. You can go ahead and find it. Very interesting. It talks about knowledge and how to start with hard money. So thank you for taking the drive and everything.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. And anybody, again, you can hit like, subscribe, follow, and you can see everything that we have to offer. Thank you.
Yes.